Hello and welcome. Happy Wednesday. It's Christoff J Weihman, America's favorite speaker empowerment coach and the creator and producer of the Ultimate Speaker Competition. Welcome to our Speaker Spotlight series. I think that's what we're calling it. Yes, Speaker Spotlight series presented by the Ultimate Speaker Community Facebook group. We are broadcasting live on 3 platforms into our Facebook group, hello Facebook group, to our LinkedIn community, as well as to YouTube. And I'm so excited and grateful. I have an amazing guest with me who said yes at the last moment, like literally less than 2 hours ago. She said, yes, I will fill in because our other guest was not available at the last minute. So I am going to share with you about our guest, and then I'll bring her into the stream. Janice Burt. She is, listen to this, she's known as the Inspirational Chatterbox. Woohoo! She's going to tell us what that means. She's a court-certified Spanish interpreter. She's a voiceover artist, a TEDx speaker, an author, an actor, a yoga instructor, a puppy mommy. She didn't put that on her bio, but I know that as well. And her purpose in life is to encourage, uplift, and unite women's hearts through the power of words and the courage of authentic action. I'm super excited to welcome to the stage, to the stream, Janice Burt. Woo! Janice,
Woo!
How are you?
I'm excellent. I love the energy.
Yes, absolutely. Got to set the tone.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that you are here. And that was quite an amazing bio. And that's just what you shared with us. I know that there's even more. So let's start off just by telling us a little bit about your background very briefly. Take us back to wherever you would like. Just a little snippet of who is Janice Burt.
A little snippet. Oh my gosh, I'm learning to be more concise. That is my goal for 2023. So a little snippet is all of those things that you mentioned that I do and enjoy. I did not do it's like been 10 years or so that I started slowly walking through all of my fears, which were basically all of those things that you listed, and started speaking my truth and writing and doing my own personal healing and personal growth path. And so for a big part of my life, I was trapped in this kind of fear state and people pleasing and insecure and codependent. So all of that to say, change is possible. Transformation is right around the corner. And I seriously am enjoying life and doing all of those things that you mentioned currently.
You are so amazing and inspiring. I see that. I think I just froze up a moment ago. That's what happens sometimes on live. That's live TV, live broadcasting, my friends. First, I want to just acknowledge we first connected through David Fagan, a mutual friend of ours. We were both at an event late last year called PubCon, where you were a part of a competition, a pitch competition. I saw your brilliance on stage. And then when we were talking to speakers for this opportunity for Speak Up on Prime Video, Michael Maloney kind of reconnected us together. And now we are truly connected and doing some amazing things together. But your story is you went on this journey, which I'm still learning about. And most people would do one of these things. You chose to run a marathon, right? Something to push you out of your comfort zone. And most people like, okay, that's the big thing. But that was your first, I think. Is that correct? The first big out of the box, push through my comfort zone, smash through the fear, do what I don't love to do. But that was just the beginning. Am I right?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That was just the beginning. Well, like I said, I knew fear had been holding me back. I was really good at blaming and playing the victim and kind of woe is me. And then I realized one day that's not serving me. Like maybe it seems to make me feel better, but then I'm not growing, I'm not moving, I'm stagnant, I'm stuck. So I am the common denominator in my own life. What do I do? How do I show up in a different way? And so I saw this running group that they were training, and I thought in my mind, a marathon is impossible. And so, but obviously it wasn't, because here were people actually running it, and people much older and in, um, you know, worse health conditions than I was. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. So that was my first thing. And after I did that, it was so hard, but it was so empowering. And I just felt really proud of myself and like, dang, you were scared to death. You didn't think you could do it. And then you did it. What else can you do? And so I, since then, every year at least, I make sure that I do something really terrifying that just pulls me out of my comfort zone. So since then, I've done like a bodybuilding competition. I did a stand-up comedy routine, which I'm not really funny. And so that was interesting. I did, let's see, I authored a couple books, started speaking, started healing my wounds, started forgiving, sitting in silence and in stillness. So some kind of action steps, but also the flip side of learning to be in the present moment, learning to relax with myself, to be at ease and peaceful internally. So I've just done all of these sorts of things of the past 10 years, and I don't plan on stopping.
I gotta say, big applause. That is, I typed out while you were talking. You said, and I thought in my mind, a marathon is like it's impossible. It's this insurmountable thing, and yet other people do it, so it must not be. But for all of us, we all have things that, oh no, I could. My mom says this sometimes. Oh, I could never do that. But it's not asking you to do this. I say to my mom, it's not, you don't have to do it. But I think a lot of times we do. It's so natural for us to think, oh, well, not me. That's for somebody else. And you're choosing things that, from my understanding, because we've talked a few times, these are not things that, because a lot of people have things that are on their bucket list, but those oftentimes are things that they desire. Like, oh, this has always been my goal. This has always been my dream. The things that you listed, or at least some of them, were not really ever your dream, correct?
Right. The marathon wasn't. It's more of a proving to myself that I can do this thing, and that I am more powerful than my fear that's holding me back. But I will say, most of the things that I sign up to do, I do on some level enjoy them. I also don't want to torture myself for no reason. But so I am athletic, and I do like sports and those sorts of things. So, but running for me felt really painful, because I remember running around the block, and you know how you get that side cramp. It felt like that, where I just couldn't get enough oxygen in my body. And that is just a training thing. It's a consistency thing. And so for me, a lot of it was working on my discipline, not just doing the thing, but the discipline and consistency that it took to achieve whatever goal it was.
Because it's not just showing up one time, right? It's it's the preparation, it's the practice. I imagine also with getting on stage to do stand-up comedy, you could just get up there and like, okay, let's see. But I'm sure that there was practice and preparation, and like you say, discipline to then set yourself up for what could be rejection. I did some stand-up comedy. I lived in LA for many years, and while I was pursuing, so we do have quite a few things in common. I did a few films. I actually did some films in the Philippines. I don't know if, yeah, most foreign countries, most Asian countries that have a film industry, if they have a decent budget, they will hire at least one Americano. And,
Nice.
and so I was that guy. And it's usually, the comic relief or the tough guy. And so I did a few of those in the Philippines. And I did stand-up comedy in LA. And that was something that I enjoyed. But it's tough because you're standing up there. It's one thing to be a speaker and the audience may or may not go along the journey with you, but it's another thing when you're standing up there and people are going to maybe heckle you. You might bomb, you might be booed. It's like, okay, here I am. Throw your darts at me, right?
Oh my gosh, I have the utmost respect for comedians and people that do that and stand up there. It's no joke. It is no joke.
It is no joke. Being a stand-up comic is no joke. How many times did you take the stage as doing stand-up? Do you remember?
Only once, and that's
only once. Oh, wow.
Once. So a lot of these things that I've done, I did a beauty pageant also, and I've only done them one time. I don't plan on doing another marathon. I don't plan on doing another bodybuilding competition. So I don't have plans necessarily to do any more stand-up comedy, although that is one that I would like to perfect a little bit more and maybe get a little more practice and training, because as much as I say I'm not funny, I think it's not so much that I'm not funny. It's a timing thing and it's kind of a skill that I actually would love to learn, because when I sit down to watch TV, I totally go for comedy, and that to me relaxes me. It eases all of my stress and tension.
Yeah.
So I personally just love watching it. So I would love to learn how to more effectively do it.
Comedy and using humor, even as a speaker, is such a powerful tool. And, there's so much strife and what's the word? There's so much angst and negative energy out there these days. I think humor. We need more humor. We need to laugh more often, just as a release, like you're saying. I really enjoyed doing stand-up, and I've put it aside because it's not my focus, but I do have kind of in the back of my mind as I reach a certain level and when my business is to the way where I want it, where it's kind of self-sustaining and kind of accomplish some of the goals that we have immediately. I do see myself going back to it, maybe in a handful of years, when I'm not doing it to try to prove something or to make it as a career, but just for the experience of it. And it's fun. What was your topic? What did you talk about when you did stand up?
So they say to take your pain point, or at least this was the comedy kind of that we did, was to take your pain point and reframe it. And that's what I really liked about it too, because it was healing. And it actually allowed me to see something that I felt kind of this deep pain about in a different way. So mine was about my kind of insecurity and jealousies. And it had to do also with the fact that my ex-husband is with a much younger woman, and the pain kind of feeling like you're too old, you're not new and shiny, you're not good enough, but really taking that and reframing it to where I thought, as I was thinking like, oh, how could I do a comedy routine about this, was like, hey, I just bought a new house. when I was out shopping for houses, was I looking for the like old Victorian that was broken down, that was cracked? And no, I bought a brand new, just been built house. No cracks, perfect, shiny, new. So I am just as guilty as my ex-husband, wanting the new and the better and the brighter thing. So it was just a really cool way to help me view that situation differently, and it shifted something inside of me where that pain point just loosened, and it feels now like I can say that, there's a tiny bit of that little kind of jab still, but for the most part I really do feel kind of free from that thought.
That's amazing. You do so much, as we mentioned in the intro. What is this idea, this phrase, inspirational chatterbox? What does that mean?
Oh my gosh, this light, isn't that great? Like, right.
It's fantastic.
Let's be symmetrical. Oh my gosh.
You're cut in the middle. There we go.
Right in the middle. Okay, so Inspirational Chatterbox just came to me, I want to say like 3 weeks ago. I've always been known as Spanish Janice.
Spanish Janice, okay.
I'm a Spanish interpreter. I love speaking Spanish, and I do Spanish voiceovers and stuff, but it was a little confusing for all of the other things that I did. So I thought I need a name for my speaking business and for that side of things. And I could not come up with one for the life of me. And then I remembered, as a young girl, my dad nicknamed me Chatterbox because apparently I love to just talk all the time. And so
it's been in your blood since day one.
It's been in my blood since I was a tiny little girl. I was like, okay, Chatterbox. And then one night I was like, what about Inspirational Chatterbox? And it just resonated with me. And at the end of the day, because I had been such a people pleaser and caring what everybody thinks, as long as something really resonates with me and I feel really good about it, I'm like, that's what it is. I didn't run it by anybody or anything like that. I just said, I am the Inspirational Chatterbox now. And that's how I came up with that.
It's very unique. It's out of the box. I would say it's a little quirky, but I think it's fun, right? It's fun. It's
right.
It's not stuffy, and probably it will make people explain what that is, right? So it's an opener in itself.
Right. And I love fun. I am, when I look at who I am and the values that I have, fun is definitely on the top of the list, and spiritual. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. I've just been thinking recently of this concept of you can be spiritual and super fun. Sometimes I think there's this divide in that. Like, if you're spiritual, you have to be stuffy or whatever the thought is. And so part of it is I do want to emit a fun vibe because that's just who I am.
We need more fun vibes in the world as well. Let's go back to the Spanish part. Now, that's another thing that you had shared with me, that tell us where the Spanish speaking comes in. How did that all come about?
So my parents were missionaries when I was a little girl in Mexico City, and they took my brother and I down there with them. We lived there for 5 years, and it was really formative years of my life. So I was 8 years old till I was 13, and I just fell in love with Mexico, the people, the culture, the language, everything about it. I still have really good friends that live there. And when I came back here, I just knew that I wanted to continue speaking Spanish. And I tried the teaching route, and that just wasn't for me. And the next best thing was interpreting. So I got into that and have been doing that for about a decade now, and just love it. And then that kind of went into this voiceover job that I do because I can speak both languages very fluently and, with the proper accents. It's good for voiceovers when they want somebody who's bilingual because it sounds very native in
Yeah.
each of the languages.
Wow. So so from 8 to 13, did you attend a Spanish local school or did you go to an international American school?
So we started out, my brother and I, who's 3 years older than me, not speaking any Spanish. My parents had gone to some classes and stuff, but we hadn't. And we get down to Mexico City and they're like, they put us into this, it was supposedly a bilingual school, but we spoke better English than the English teachers that were teaching there. And I went to math and history and science, all of these classes in Spanish and they put me back a grade. So I think I was in 5th grade and they put me into 4th grade, something like that. But I picked it up. I want to say it took about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But at 6 months, I remember even at that age thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I totally understand what they're saying. And I could also communicate back to them. So the way your mind or your brain can absorb those things when you're younger is amazing. So I always tell my parents, I'm like, that is one of the biggest gifts that you ever gave to me.
That's another thing that we have in common. Not when I was a child, but when I was a young adult, I went overseas. I went to the Philippines and I spent 11 and a half years there. My first wife is from the Philippines. We have 2 children. Both my kids are multilingual. And we taught I would say in the early years, I did. Together we did. We taught our kids to read and write, or to read, I think like at the age of 4. And during those early years, before my wife and I separated and divorced, and they continued growing up with their mom. But every day I would speak to my 2 kids, Kimberly and Josiah, in 3 languages. I would say it in Tagalog, in Ilocano, and then in English. And it was so much fun. And I found that is a superpower, a gift that I have. I took Spanish in high school, Spanish class, 3 years. I got A's, but there was no application. There was nowhere I grew up in a very small, very kind of white town south of Chicago. And there was hardly any Spanish speakers, way back 100 years ago when I was in high school. So I got A's in Spanish class, but there was nothing I could do with it. But I knew that it was something that I really enjoyed. And when I actually started learning Tagalog when I was in Guam for 3 or 6 months, I can't remember, prior to entering the Philippines. But as a native learner, the best way is through immersion. Yep. Being Absolutely. There around. And then later on, I actually learned a program, and I was actually with a mission organization as well, non-denominational Christian mission organization. That's how I came to the Philippines. And I found a program called LAMP, Learning Acquisition Made Practical. The Brewsters, I think. And it was a program, a book that was pretty well known around the missionary community. And they taught that you don't go and start learning words and everything. The very first thing that they tell you to do is to go into the community with a notebook or a recorder and listen. And just listen. What was that sound? What did I hear? I heard. So in the Philippines, they have words that begin with consonants. They have like NG at the beginning of a word. Nga, nga, ngo. And so this idea of learning without trying to figure things out first, just becoming aware of what you're hearing, not knowing what it is, but getting used, in every culture, in every culture and every language, there's different sounds. There's sounds in German that we don't make in English. There's sounds in Arabic that you're not going to hear in another language. And oh my gosh, it was so amazing. Within 3 months, I was semi-fluent. I would go and hang out with the palace guards that were sitting they call them sorry stores. So there's these little convenience stores. There's a bench where the guys sit, and then they sit there and they drink beer after their shift. And they were across the street from where we lived, and I would go out there. I was 22 years old. I have my notebook. I had already written down all my sounds and everything. And I said, how do I say this? How do I say this? And I just practice and practice and practice. And I became quite fluent. And now I still, 25, 28 years later, I still speak Tagalog. I've been known to sing some Tagalog karaoke.
Well, I think that is awesome. And yeah, for anyone who is trying to learn a language, I totally agree. If you have any time that you have downtime, that you can listen to it, even if it's songs on the radio, the telenovelas, anything, just to be listening is huge.
Going to the movies, right? And the Philippines, they had Spanish influence for 400 years. Going to the movies, listening, watching on TV. And it also helps us learn the culture. And stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. And in every culture, stereotypes are presented. I'm not saying that they're always accurate, but it's what's in the mind and in the psyche of the people. And watching movies or watching TV or sitcoms, even if you don't understand all the words, it helps you understand the culture and the nuances and all of these different things. I miss learning a new language.
There's time.
There is time. Oh, wow. Now, there's another exciting thing coming up. We don't have an exact date yet, but something that you are going to be a part of, which I'm super excited. Are you cool to sharing this on this broadcast?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So we had shared this opportunity to Janice, and she immediately was one of the ones that said, heck yeah. So tell us, I want you to introduce it and tell us about it, okay?
All right. So yeah, when I heard about it, I was very excited because it's called Speak Up. And you're basically got a group of speakers together where we're going to go and in front of a live audience present a speech right around 15 minutes or so. So kind of similar to, like a TEDx speech, that kind of thing. But it's really exciting because it's in that live studio audience, but then it gets streamed onto Amazon Prime, which I think is really cool. And the show itself is what I love because I am all about inspiration and spreading those types of messages and that positivity and just encouraging people. It's like, well, how do you really get that out there in a bigger way? And because lots of things are streamed and people are watching, a lot of TV that way, I thought that it was a great opportunity to get some of these messages out there to a wider, bigger audience. So I am super, super excited about it.
And so are we. Like you just shine on stage. You also recently did something up in San Francisco, which is something that I've thought about doing. And I listen to it all the time. And you told me, I think it was just a few weeks ago, right? You participated in
The Moth
storytelling series. So amazing. And is this part of like public radio or isn't it sponsored by something like that? Or
I'm not sure. I know they have a podcast out that's a new thing for them. I don't know who sponsors it though, but it is nationwide. It's amazing. They basically, for people that don't know what it is every month they have a different topic. And you can go in there, have a 5-minute story prepared that has to do with whatever the topic is. You put your name in a hat when you first walk in, so you don't know if you're going to be called to give your story on the stage or not, which is just kind of a cool element of surprise. And it's great too, for me mentally, to be present, to be in the moment. Because, if you know you have to speak, it's kind of a different deal as to if you don't know and it's going to be a surprise, like, oh, is my name going to be the next one called up? And they only call up 10 speakers. And it was funny. The one I did was in Berkeley, actually. The theme was Love Hurts.
Love hurts.
Love hurts. So I had this whole, my 5-minute story prepared, not sure if they were going to call on me. Well, speaker number 5, speaker number 6, my name still isn't called. Speaker number 8, speaker number 9. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to get chosen this time. Almost a little bit of a sigh of relief, like, I don't have to give it. Okay, cool. Well, I'm speaker number 10. Of course, it's like Janice Burt, our last speaker. So it was great, though, to be able to go up and present this story. And they rate you, everybody gets a score. And it's a really, really amazing event to just, even if you don't want to speak, to just go and listen to these stories. Everybody brings their A game. I mean, these are amazing, well thought out. It's not really off the cuff. Like, they've definitely prepared their story. So it's great.
That's so awesome. Congratulations. I just something I observe about you, like, you're this person that, I think you did say this. You say yes. Did you say out loud that you're the second person that I know that they declare, I am a yes person as much as possible. When something resonates with me, I jump for it. And so many people, we hold off, we sit back, let me figure it out first. Let me get and I'm not saying that you shouldn't plan or you shouldn't be prepared, but all these experiences that you've had and that you continue to have, it's like you attract them to yourself because you are showing up in this way of, I have something to share, I have something of value, and what's next? Can you just kind of talk about that?
Yeah, and it's very true. I think I just have this sense of the shortness of life, and I don't want to take the time that I have here for granted. And I think a lot of times we'll do that and we don't mean to, but we just think we have forever to make an impact, to forgive people we need to forgive, to show up in a bigger way, to do the things that are really on our hearts to do. And I don't want to lay on my deathbed and look back and regret or think, man, if I only weren't so insecure, if I only, hadn't let those fears hold me back. And so that's just kind of my message to everybody, is to take advantage of the life, the gift of life that is in front of you, and explore, adventure, have fun, love, live your best, most authentic life. And so that's what I am intentionally setting out to do, which is why I love to say yes to things, because if they resonate, not the people pleaser yes, but if they actually resonate, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's something I know deep down I want to do, and maybe I'm just being too lazy, or maybe a fear is holding me back. I have had so many amazing experiences and opportunities and met so many great people by saying yes and just showing up, even when sometimes, I was hesitant or really, just was scared or whatever the thing was. So, yeah, let's just live this life big and bold and beautiful and full of love.
Wow. Wow. That's so powerful and so important. So we know you're going to be on Speak Up. We know you have a lot happening. What are maybe some big aspirations or a big goal or something that you're looking for or creating, attracting, or something, in this year?
So right now I'm looking into creating a TV show, which is really exciting, to be able to create this type of content, like I was just explaining about with Speak Up, a very similar idea of putting entertaining, fun, but meaningful, inspirational content out there in a sea of, social media where we're comparing ourselves to these ideals of perfection that are just not even attainable, and all of that. I want to be a different voice in a sea that fills people's minds with depression and anxiety and all of these things. I want the opposite thing. So a TV show hopefully is kind of in the works, and I'm really, really excited about that.
Wow. And I would definitely want to know more when it develops, because we will be big fans and supporters and promoters. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. How fun. I'm a huge believer in affirmations, in what we not only think or write down, but what we say out loud. And when we do our events, we ask our speakers to speak out loud an affirmation, not only just my name, I am, but whatever, fill in the blank, I am. So what would you say would be in this moment, an affirmation?
I actually have one. It's my go-to one, and it is, I am a confident, powerful, and purposeful woman.
Wow. And then we follow it up by saying, and my gift to the world is. So say your affirmation and then end it by saying, and my gift to the world is. And tell us what your superpower or your gift is.
I am a confident, powerful, and purposeful woman, and my gift to the world is the love that is in my heart.
Wow. You are such a shining star. You are so amazing. You just light up the stage, the screen, and it's not fake. You just bring such great. I mean, I think even the word authenticity sometimes is overused, and I don't think the word even needs to be said when it shows up. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And because I was kind of the opposite of authentic for so many years, it's very important for me now to just really be genuine, show up as I'm going to show up, which, many times is kind of with tears or whatever. We never know what we're going to get with Janice showing up, but I show up, dang it.
That is true. And you do, and you push through this fear that is present sometimes. I just think that you are such an inspiration you're an inspiration for me. I told you, I am reconsidering my fear. There are things that nope, never going to do that. But the more that I spend time with you and listening to you, I think, well, why not? I've done all these things in the past. I went overseas. I lived by myself. I lived in a foreign country. I did this. I did that. But I am challenged. I am positively challenged and inspired by you, and I'm just thinking for myself things this year. Like, for example, I don't know why people would jump out of airplanes. Like, what would be the point? But
You know
I
why? A damn good story. That's why.
I can come up with other stories, I'm thinking to myself. But
Christoff, I see in your future, I see you skydiving in your future, and I cannot wait to see you post about it. It's going to happen.
well, and I'm learning, and I'm open to embracing. I really am, because it's important that we don't remain stagnant. And I'm a wee bit older than you, and it's easy to think about all the things we've done in the past, which is great. It is great, but pushing forward, looking forward is so important. And that's how we grow mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Um, what else would you like to share that maybe we haven't touched on, or I just want to give you the floor to not necessarily only be guided by my thoughts or questions on our conversation.
No, I think this was an amazing conversation. I am super excited, like I said, to see you do some of these fun, adventurous experiences in your own life. And yeah, for other people also, just to really dig deep, work on your own personal development and growth and healing those wounds, the emotional wounds, a lot of times that we have carried with us since childhood or adolescence. They really do hold us back, I think, more than a lot of us realize. And so just being aware of maybe what some of those things are, and then intentionally working on healing those wounds. There's different ways to do that. Forgiveness, reframing them. It's, your perspective and mentality about the situation has a lot to do with how you're going to show up in life even now. So I am just grateful to be alive right now. Like I said, to be having this conversation, to just be able to hopefully inspire and encourage other people that if you're in a down place or not feeling good enough, that there truly is hope, that transformation is right around the corner, and that the world needs you, your authentic self, and that loving, peaceful, amazing part of who you are to really shine.
I resonate with that, and yeah, absolutely. Wow. So, who are you looking to connect with? Certain people, or I mean, I know you have a lot going on. You have your speaking, you have your voiceover work. You're an author, you're an actor, your Spanish interpreting business. Are you looking to connect with other individuals, or if people wanted to connect or find you, what do you want to share? How do they reach out to you? Or
yeah, absolutely.
or if you want an amazing, inspiring speaker on your stage, on your summit, on your podcast, I'm going to open the door for you here, Janet. Janice, I said Janet. Uh, what are you looking for, and how can people find you, or where do they connect with you?
So I'm at janiceburt.com, and I'm very open to possibilities and opportunities, but I definitely am looking, like I said, to get these messages that I just have in my heart across to a bigger audience. And That audience mainly are women, and women who struggle with these feelings of insecurity, of not being good enough, of playing small, of being locked in this prison of fear. I really feel like my 10-year journey through that, and it still continues because it's a process and it's ongoing, but I would just love to give some hope and spread the love to more women that fit that category. So any keynote speeches or conferences or retreats, those sorts of things. And also video is huge. So, and like I said, I'm an actor also. So I love the entertainment industry. And that eventually is maybe what I want to get into more, is creating short films or movies or whatever, but that have this inspirational thread, or where people watch them and feel like they can conquer the world and feel like, they don't have to commit suicide or hurt other people because of their own pain. Those are like, that's important to me, that sort of a thing.
That's so awesome, because there's such a need for that. And wow, I love your vision. It's very, very cool. Well, Janice, thank you so much. I am so grateful that we are connected, and to be able to soon share a larger platform stage with you. Again, thanks to David Fagan for even putting each other into each other's circles. And then Michael Maloney kind of, making the re-connection. And here we are. So thank you so much. Friends, if you want to reach out to Janice, very simply, janiceburt.com, JANICEBURT.com. And yeah, you talked about retreats. I know a couple people that hold transformational retreats that I want to make some introductions for you as well. And who knows, maybe we'll all go skydiving someday soon.
Okay. I actually am very scared of heights. So
it's being recorded. So here we go. It's been recorded. Christoff is going to go skydiving. I don't know when, but I think that what I'm going to learn from you is, I know you have to make a plan, and you're going to say, put a date on it, right? I'm not declaring a date right now, but I've said that.
You're open.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. It's so fun being with you. I appreciate you. And your final word.
I appreciate you too. Thank you. And just go out there, enjoy life, and live big, bold, and beautiful.
Big, bold, and beautiful. I love it. Cheers. God bless everybody. This has been our speaker spotlight. And we're so happy. Oh, wait, we've got one comment that just came in too. So I got hello, Christoff. Well, hello. Thank you. All right, friends. See you again. Big, bold, and beautiful. Somebody on Facebook just typed that back in. Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone. It's Christoff J Weihman. I will talk to you soon.